You can ask anyone who is the best team in the NBA this year, and they will give you one of two answers. The Phoenix Suns, who are 19-4, or the Golden State Warriors, who are 19-3. And it's kind of a no-brainer. Both those teams they've been playing easily better than everyone else. But now I'm going to answer the question, who is better? I can't just say, oh, Phoenix is better, but I'll just say, oh, Golden State is better. So in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the two teams. So how this is going to work is I have a format, which I'll show you in a second, and there's like a bunch of different top categories. Whoever wins the most categories is the better team. So let's see the categories. Alright, so here are the 11 categories. Obviously, if there's 11, you have to have 6 to win. And yeah, I'm not going to really explain them now. I'll explain them once I get to the actual category. The first one is offense, pretty self-explanatory. Second one is defense. And then we have shooting, rebounding, playmaking. And then now it starts to get more unique. We got chemistry, who plays the best together. We have the coaching staff, the depth, like who has a better rotation 10 deep. Who has a better starting lineup, where I'll compare the starting lineups. Who has more star power, and finally, who is more entertaining to watch. Those are the 11 things that I will be comparing them by. So basically, first I'll do offense. Whoever has the better offense will get a point in my books. Then I'll do defense. And whoever has the most points at the end wins. So let's get started. Alright, the first topic I'm going to be talking about is offense, and I think how this is going to work is I'm going to talk about the Warriors side, then I'm going to talk about the Suns side, and then I'm going to finally compare. So let's start off with the Golden State Warriors offense. Before we start, I just want to say this video took me forever to make, so if you could please watch the end, that'd be great. Enjoy. The main reason the Golden State Warriors have been so good this year is because of their offense. And a main part of that is obviously their best player, Steph Curry, who, as we know, he is an amazing scorer. Probably the best scorer in the game, maybe behind like Kevin Durant or something. He's averaging about 28 points a game, which is amazing. He's shooting 42% from 3, super entertaining to watch. And he's also averaging 6 assists a game, which kind of falls under offense too, because he's creating buckets, which leads to a better offense. Now, it's not just Steph Curry, because the past few years, Steph Curry's kind of been a one-man show for the Warriors, which is why they haven't been good. But now this year, they actually kind of have a squad around Steph Curry. The next guy I'm talking about is Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, he's really improved this month. He's really improved a lot over like the past 2 or 3 years. He is averaging 18 points a game, and he's probably like the 3rd or 4th best player on the Warriors this year. He's been a big part, just like hitting wide open threes, catch and shoot threes, stuff like that. He's improved so much, and he really helps out the offense. Andrew Wiggins is another guy I want to talk about. He's averaging 19 points a game, especially recently, like the last 11 or 12 games or so. He has been definitely really balling out. 19 points a game, like I said. That's pretty much all he's doing. He's a good defender, but that's not what we're talking about now. Andrew Wiggins is another reliable scorer for the Warriors. And the last guy that I think falls under their good offense is Draymond Green. Now, that might sound a little bit far-fetched, but it's actually not, because if you look at it, he only averages 8 points a game, but offense isn't just scoring. It's about like creating buckets, getting to the rim, making the right passes, and overall just making your team better when it comes to scoring, and assists help with that. He's averaging 8 assists a game and 1.2 offensive rebounds, so he's keeping the play alive. So yeah, that's for the Warriors side. Now let's move on to the Suns side. Now we're moving on to the Suns side, and the first guy I want to talk about is obviously Chris Paul. He is kind of like the same situation as Draymond Green. He passes the ball, makes more quality plays, runs the offense. The offense kind of runs through Chris Paul. He still averages 14 points a game, which is really good, but he also averages 10 assists. And obviously the other guy I got to talk about is Devin Booker, 23 points a game and 5 assists, which is actually kind of good for Devin Booker. I could go talking about more players on the Phoenix Suns, but I'm going to leave it at these two. They have many more guys. The Suns are a super deep team, and they play like a true team. They play very like a fundamental way of basketball. Like they only shoot threes when they're opened. They go for easy layups. They do pump fakes. They pass the ball around. And yeah, overall their offense is just really smooth, and I like the way they play. They're not as flashy as the Warriors, but they still get the job done. The Suns have really been on fire recently, and yeah, they've just been playing like a team on offense. They've been on an 18-game winning streak, which is amazing. They were 1-3, then they were 19-3, and then they just lost to the Warriors yesterday. Alright, now I'm going to compare the two teams. So, If you look at this chart right here, you might be wondering what this is because it has no labels. This is how much points a game they're averaging. The Golden State Warriors are sitting at number 3 right now, averaging 113.4 points a game. And the only two teams they're behind, I believe it's Charlotte and Cleveland. Those are the two teams they're behind. And if you look, Phoenix is not that far behind, averaging 111.6 points per game, which is just under 2 points. Alright, the winner of the offensive category, I am going to give it to the Golden State Warriors. Because the Warriors, and I'm going to say this on the defense for Phoenix, the Warriors just rely on their offense more to win games, while the Suns, they're more of a well-rounded team. And the Warriors, their offense is the main reason they're so good. So now, 1-0 Golden State on the scoreboard. Number 2 is defense, and defense is kind of the same thing as offense, except the exact opposite. Gonna go over, steals, blocks, how many points they allow per game. But the thing about defense is you can't just look at stats to determine how good defensively a team is, whereas offense you kind of can. Defense, I'm going to go over individual players clamping up other teams, contesting shots, all that stuff. It can't be put into a stat. So let's get right into defense. Both these teams have a great defense. The Warriors' defense is kind of underrated because their offense kind of really shines. But the main two guys for the Warriors that are the defensive-minded guys are Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins. Everyone knows how good of a defender Draymond Green is. And Andrew Wiggins is actually low-key an underrated defender. The Warriors, though, they don't really have a defensive-minded center, and their center's Kevon Looney, which he's not that good at defense. But yeah, the Warriors are a really good defensive team. But when we're looking at the Suns, individually they have a better team. They have more players that can guard positions 1 through 5. They have more players that, can clamp up the other team's best player one-on-one. So first guy I want to talk about obviously is Mikal Bridges. He has been a great defender since the start of his career. DeAndre Ayton is another guy, great interior defender. Then there's also JaVale McGee, who's averaging a block. Jay Crowder doesn't seem like a good defensive guy, but he's actually averaging a steal. And then Chris Paul is averaging 2 steals a game. Now, the Warriors, there are other guys. I just only brought up Draymond Green and Wiggins. But yeah, so defensively, so far we are pretty even. I would say the Suns have it a little bit, but now we have to actually move on to the stats. Because stats aren't everything, but they are something, and you have to look at stats at the end of the day if you want to choose something. Alright, I am going to give this to the Golden State Warriors once again for defense. Now, you might be thinking why, because I listed so many good Suns defenders, and when I was originally making this, I thought that the Suns would take this easily. But the Warriors, they do have some good defenders, but statistically, they are just a better defensive team. And like I said, stats aren't everything, and using stats for defense doesn't really help. You got to actually watch the games, but stats do have a part, and I'm gonna have to go with the Warriors if they're winning every single stat against the Suns. But nonetheless, you can see here 99.7 points a game allowed for the Warriors, which is the best in the league, and the Phoenix Suns 104.2 points a game. So they're both really good defenders. And if you look over there, the first one that I circled in yellow is the steals. The Warriors are beating them in steals. And in blocks, the Warriors are also beating them. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. The Suns look better on defense. I thought the Suns would easily win this, but actually the Warriors are better at defense. 2-0 Golden State. Honestly, though, the Suns, I thought that they would win because they rely on their defense, where the Warriors, they're good because they just rely on their offense. But the Suns actually rely on playing a well-rounded basketball game. So I thought that they had the defense in the bag. So offense and defense were the main two things. That's why this video is 10 minutes long probably by now. The rest of these are going to be much quicker, I assure you. So yeah, I'm going to try briefly explaining the rest. The next one is shooting, and there is no upset like I thought the defense was. I am going to be giving this to the Golden State Warriors. If you look right here, if we're going to talk about individual shooters, the Suns have many great shooters. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, all those guys can shoot the 3-ball. But Steph Curry, man, it's hard to beat Steph Curry's team in shooting when you have Steph Curry. They also have other guys such as Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Damian Lee, guys like that can all shoot. And if you look here, as a team, the Warriors attempt 41 threes a game, which is actually third in the league behind the Timberwolves and the Jazz. And they have the second best field goal or 3-point percentage, 37.3%, and the Phoenix Suns average only 31 threes a game, which is 10 less, and they are shooting 37%, which is just a bit worse. But mainly the fact Steph Curry, I'm giving this to the Warriors. 3-0 Golden State. Don't worry, it's not over. The next one is rebounding, and this is one of the few where I'm only going to look at stats and nothing else. Like, there's nothing really else you can look at to determine who's better at rebounding. So let's just get right into it. Both these teams have their fair share of rebounders. So, like, for the Suns, it's DeAndre Ayton, and for the Warriors, it's Kevon Looney. And there's also other guys who rack in some rebounds. But yeah, I got to look at some statistics here. If you can see right here, the Warriors, they are number 3 in the league, 47.4. The Warriors are just good at everything. And the Phoenix Suns, don't look at all these teams because it's such a close deficit. They're only like 2.5 points behind the Warriors, 44.9 rebounds. So we're also going to look at some other stuff now. And now looking at offensive rebounds, both these teams aren't that good. The Suns are second last in the league with only 8.7 rebounds. But once again, it's only like a 1.3 difference. The Warriors are averaging 10 offensive rebounds a game. But still, statistics-wise, another one that I thought would go to the Suns, I have to give to the Warriors. This is actually a lot closer, more one-sided than I thought. Like, I expected the Suns to win some of these, but it's 4-0 Golden State right now. The Warriors only need 2 more categories as we head into number 5, which is playmaking. Now, playmaking, I think this one's going to take a while because playmaking is not what you expect. I will be looking at assists per game for players and as the team, but that's not everything. It's about creating shots, passing the ball, spacing, all that stuff to get easy buckets, like players that start the plays. And yeah, there's a lot of like non-stat related stuff to playmaking. So let's get right into it. Alright, I'm going to do team stats first. If you look right here in the assist numbers per game, you can see that once again, the Golden State Warriors beat the Phoenix Suns in this category. They're averaging 29.1 assists. Suns only averaging 26.1. But I am giving this one to the Phoenix Suns, and I'm just about to explain why right now. When you take a look at the Golden State Warriors, they are a very passive team. They pass the ball 5-6 times before they get a shot up. And the Phoenix Suns do the exact same thing. So when those two things cancel each other out, then we look at assist things. And you might be thinking the Warriors should be winning. But the only difference is, when the Golden State Warriors play, they pass the ball around only to get Steph Curry open for a 3, or for a layup, or for a mid-range. And Steph Curry is involved in like 90% of their plays whenever he's on. That's not the case for the Phoenix Suns, though. Chris Paul starts the play, the offense runs through him, and they pass the ball, and they let anybody shoot, which is not the case for the Warriors. Steph Curry shoots most of their shots when he's on the court, and that's not really much playmaking. I get it, like playmaking's not just passing. Steph Curry does create his own shots sometimes, but the Suns, they play like a very fundamental way of basketball. The pass first way, like pass before anything, only shoot open shots, pump fakes, layups, get to the line. They play like a very fundamental way of basketball, and I think their playmaking is just better, and they get everyone involved. So I'm giving this to the Phoenix Suns, 4-1 Golden State. Alright, on to topic number 6, and this category is chemistry. Now, chemistry is not really something, like, there's no actual statistic to show who has the better chemistry. It just comes from simply watching games. Like we always do, starting off on the Golden State Warriors side, obviously, like, they're not a relatively new team. They've been together for 1 or 2 years. Like, Steph and Draymond have been together since, like, they've been drafted. They also have Klay Thompson, who's coming back. And guys like that, and even like James Wiseman, Jordan Poole, have been there for now 1 or 2 years. So the Warriors, they have the longevity, and it looks like they're playing like a team, other than the fact that, Steph Curry gets every possession, or gets the ball every possession. And for the Phoenix Suns, they are a relatively new team. Like, they got a lot of new additions, JaVale McGee, and like this offseason. And last offseason, they got a lot of guys like Chris Paul, Jay Crowder. but they have really worked well together. It's kind of like they let everybody get the ball, and I am giving this to the Phoenix Suns. I just think they have a better chemistry. It might have something to do with Chris Paul, the Chris Paul effect. Everywhere he goes, he makes them look good. Yeah, they don't have any locker room issues that I know of, and yeah, they just play more like a team. Like, the Warriors still have a great chemistry, but I am going to give it to the Suns, Now the new score is 4-2 Golden State. Now it's time to compare the starting lineups, and for this, basically, I'm going to go over their 2 point guards, their 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, their 2 power forwards, and the 2 centers, and I'm just going to compare who's better, and whoever has the most better players is going to get the point. So let's start off right away with the point guards. Alright, Steph Curry and Chris Paul are the 2 point guards, and I think we all know this one. I am giving it to Stephen Curry. It's kind of obvious he's the best player in basketball, maybe behind it's arguably with Kevin Durant. Chris Paul's amazing, only 14 points, but he does it on other parts of the game, such as the playmaking end. But Steph Curry, he is just elite, and it's kind of no competition. So now it's 1-0 Golden State in the starting lineup competition. And now for the 2 starting shooting guards, Devin Booker versus Jordan Poole. Another one that's kind of obvious. Devin Booker. Devin Booker is just significantly better. Jordan Poole has improved so much, especially on the offensive end. He's an amazing 3-level scorer. But Devin Booker is just Devin Booker. Maybe when Klay Thompson comes back, it'll be a competition to see who's better, Booker or Klay Thompson. But now it's obviously Devin Booker. So it's 1-1. And now for the small forwards, this is probably the most competitive position. The 2 teams, these are super close. Mikal Bridges versus Andrew Wiggins. They both have a similar play style. They're both relatively athletic. They both excel on the defensive end, and they both can shoot. I'm going to give it to Andrew Wiggins. Statistically, he has just had a better year, and Mikal Bridges has played a little bit less games. So it's 2-1 Golden State. And now for the power forwards, Draymond Green versus Jake Crowder. I am going to give it to Draymond Green. He is just the heart and soul of the Warriors. I think he's just a little bit better than Draymond Green, especially on the defensive end, and he's a way better playmaker. So now it's 3-1 Golden State. They obviously win. But here are the centers, DeAndre Ayton versus Kevon Looney. Keep it short and sweet. I'm giving it to the Phoenix Suns. DeAndre Ayton is obviously better. So the Golden State Warriors take the starting lineup category. It is now 5-2 Golden State. Alright, now we're moving on to depth for the 8th one. Ignore the fact that it says 1. That's an accident. But yeah, for this, basically, I'm going to be comparing the 2 bench units. So I have a backup point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center for each team. And I also have an extra player. So whoever has the most check marks will get a point for this category. Alright, here are the bench units, and you can see by the check marks already, I don't really have to explain much. Cameron Payne versus Damian Lee. This season, I'm giving it to Cameron Payne. Now, this next one for shooting guard, Landry Shamet versus Gary Payton II. Gary Payton II has been on the internet and social media more. He's averaging about 6 points a game, but his explosiveness is really what's getting the media's attention. But Landry Shamet is just playing better basketball. He's a better shooter and overall just a better player. For small forward, Cameron Johnson versus Jonathan Kuminga. I am giving this to Cameron Johnson, a super underrated player. Jonathan Kuminga is only averaging 3 points a game. He's not doing that good. Now for power forwards, Frank Kaminsky versus Juan Toscano Anderson. Frank Kaminsky is averaging 10 points a game, but Juan Toscano Anderson has been way more impactful to the Golden State Warriors. And for backup centers, JaVale McGee versus Nemanja Bjelica. I'm giving this to JaVale McGee just barely for his defensive end. And the Warriors don't really have a backup center. And for the 2 extras, Elfrid Payton versus Andre Iguodala. Andre Iguodala, he's just been more of a defensive player. And Elfrid Payton hasn't been that good. I'm giving this to Andre Iguodala. So as you can see, the Phoenix Suns win 4-2. They get another point. It is now 5-3 Golden State. And now for the 9th category, it is the coaching. I should have just really put the coaches because I'm not going to be comparing assistant coaches or GMs or anything like that. Steve Kerr versus Monty Williams. Right here, here's the graphic. Really, honestly, Monty Williams has been an amazing coach. But Steve Kerr, man, he is just Steve Kerr. I think everyone knows who Steve Kerr is. He has been an amazing coach for the past 5 years. So as much as I want to give this to Monty Williams, I'm going to have to give it to Steve Kerr, just for the longevity and his chemistry with the players. So with that, it is officially 6-3 Golden State, meaning that Golden State has won this comparison video. But still, we have 2 more categories left, so I'm just going to quickly compare them, no explanation. For star power, I would have also given it to the Golden State Warriors. Like I said, the Suns, they play like a team, but the Warriors rely on their star player. So that means they have some more star power, obviously Steph Curry. And entertainment, I will also have given that to the Golden State Warriors, because the Suns, they just get the job done. They go out there and get the job done. But the Golden State Warriors, they are a very flashy team with Steph Curry's threes, flashy passes. They just do more of that stuff. So with that, the final score comes out to 8-3 Golden State in this comparison. But that does not mean Golden State is significantly better just because they blew them out. It's just, I think that when it comes to these categories, the Warriors just play better. The Suns are still an amazing team. They're still the second best team in basketball, and both these teams are probably very likely to make it to the Western Conference Finals. And if both of these teams don't make the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to be pretty shocked, because these are easily the two best teams in the Western Conference and easily the two best teams in the NBA. So I expect one of these teams in the finals, and it can go either way. Right now the series is tied 1-1. So yeah, no disrespect to the Suns, they are still amazing this year, but the Warriors take home the trophy. Alright, that is going to wrap up my video, guys. If you could please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of 2021. And this video is very long, so it's taking me forever to edit, hours and hours to edit. So if you can please support this video, that'd be great. And even watch it in 2x speed, it doesn't bother me. But yeah, that's going to wrap up my video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.